This is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Hannah Payne and Kenneth Herring? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. Looking at a few of my recent pre-release videos on Patreon, we see enigmatic thumbnails like Rubber Mallet Satan, Zombie House Demolition, and Trash Compactor Affair. In addition, there are over 170 other videos available on my Patreon. My Patreon account can be found at patreon.com/drgrande. The link is also in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the timeline of the crime, then move to my analysis. On May 7, 2019, at about 6 p.m., 62-year-old Kenneth Herring was driving a Dodge pickup truck in Clayton County, Georgia. This is just south of Atlanta. At the intersection of Clark Howell Highway and Forest Parkway, Kenneth ran a red light and collided with a tractor-trailer. It did not appear as though anyone was seriously injured or injured at all. Both vehicles pulled over and the police were notified. A 21-year-old woman named Hannah Payne, who was not involved in the collision, pulled over to render assistance. She was driving a Jeep Wrangler. Another witness, a correctional officer named Terry Robinson, also pulled over to help. According to Hannah, as everyone was waiting for the police to arrive, Terry implied that Kenneth was intoxicated. About 15 to 20 minutes later, prior to the police arriving, Kenneth climbed into his pickup truck and drove west on Forest Parkway. Hannah decided to pursue Kenneth in her Jeep Wrangler. She communicated with a 911 operator during this pursuit. As Hannah weaved in and out of traffic to catch up with Kenneth, the operator told Hannah 4 times not to follow him. On one occasion, when she was told to stop pursuing, Hannah responded, quote, "He is drunk. I'm not. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to follow him because he is going to cause an accident," unquote. Hannah's driving and her use of grammar shared the same recklessness. About 2 miles west of the intersection of Forest Parkway and Riverdale Road, Hannah pulled her Jeep in front of Kenneth's pickup truck and partially blocked his path. Both vehicles came to a stop. Hannah exited her Jeep Wrangler, approached the driver's side of Kenneth's pickup truck, and started communicating with him. It's not clear exactly what happened at this point. Different stories were supplied by various witnesses, including Hannah. One thing is for certain, shortly after confronting Kenneth, Hannah produced a 9mm semi-automatic pistol and shot him 1 time. The police arrived at 6:20 p.m. and found Kenneth Herring sitting in the front seat of his pickup truck. He had a gunshot wound to his abdomen. Kenneth was transported to a hospital, but he died less than an hour later. He may have been having an unrelated medical emergency when he was shot, perhaps caused by diabetes, but the gunshot wound was the cause of his death. Hannah Payne was arrested and charged with felony murder, malice murder, aggravated assault, false imprisonment, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. Her trial started on December 6, 2023. Here was the story presented by Hannah and her defense. Hannah decided to pursue Kenneth because she believed that no one had recorded his license plate number. She claimed that Terry used the word "go" as if directing her to pursue Kenneth. Hannah said that she wasn't really chasing Kenneth, rather just trying to stay behind him. She wanted to keep the police up to date on what Kenneth was doing and facilitate him being located by the police. When Kenneth stopped in a turn lane, Hannah pulled in front of him. She approached Kenneth's vehicle on foot with her phone on speaker to show him that she was communicating with the police. Hannah informed Kenneth that the 911 operator had asked both of them to return to the scene of the collision. Kenneth asked her who the blank she was. Hannah explained that she was nobody. At this point, Kenneth knocked the phone out of Hannah's hand, grabbed her wrist, pulled her toward his pickup truck, and said, "I have something for you." Kenneth moved his truck forward. Hannah saw her life flash before her eyes. Kenneth reached behind his front seat before mashing the gas. He collided into Hannah's Jeep, which prompted her to draw her pistol from the holster on her hip. Kenneth grabbed her hand, which was holding the pistol. He tried to get the gun away from her. As he pulled the firearm, it discharged. Hannah picked up her phone from the ground and told the operator that Kenneth had pulled the trigger on her gun. On December 12, 2023, Hannah Payne was convicted of all charges. She is facing up to life in prison. Now moving to my analysis. Hannah Payne maintains her innocence. There are many people who support her. They view this incident as a tragic accident, not as an intentional killing. Hannah was trying to do the right thing to stop a reckless driver, and he attacked her. She killed him in self-defense. The state, of course, disagrees. They view Hannah as a cold-blooded vigilante who chased down her victim and murdered him. This brings me to the question, was Hannah Payne guilty of murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that Hannah was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. Hannah was not involved in the traffic collision caused by Kenneth. This was really none of her business. The 911 operator told Hannah on 4 occasions not to follow Kenneth. Hannah was not a law enforcement officer and had no legal authority to use any type of force against Kenneth. If Hannah blocked Kenneth's pickup truck in with her Jeep, as photographic evidence suggests, this was a felony. Witness testimony supports the idea that Hannah was driving recklessly as she approached Kenneth's location, as if she was in hot pursuit. She was weaving in and out of traffic and speeding. Hannah was not authorized to drive in a reckless manner. She approached the driver's side door of Kenneth's pickup truck while yelling expletives and being very aggressive. She demanded that Kenneth exit his vehicle. Hannah admitted that it was her gun that killed Kenneth. After the shooting, when Hannah spoke to a police officer at the scene, she stated that she told Kenneth that she had a gun and she would shoot him. She further stated that she didn't want to pull the trigger, which of course makes it sound like she did pull the trigger. Moving to the exculpatory factors, there is no question that Kenneth Herring caused the motor vehicle collision. He ran a red light, which is a behavior that puts people at serious risk of harm. From Hannah's perspective, it was reasonable to believe that Kenneth was intoxicated. She may have pursued him in an effort to stop him from injuring or killing innocent people. The correctional officer at the scene of the collision allegedly identified himself as a state officer and showed Hannah a badge. Hannah was only 21 years old. She presumably felt inclined to respect authority figures and assumed that Terry was authorized to give her orders. If Terry implied that Kenneth was intoxicated, Hannah would have believed him. Furthermore, when Terry said the word go, Hannah may have interpreted this as permission or even as an order to pursue Kenneth. When Hannah pulled her Jeep Wrangler in front of Kenneth's pickup truck, Kenneth still had some room to the right to maneuver. One could argue that he was not completely blocked in. Rather, Hannah was simply trying to get his attention. Although some witnesses saw a struggle between Hannah and Kenneth, it's not clear who was to blame for the physical altercation. No witnesses actually saw Hannah shoot Kenneth, so they did not know who pulled the trigger. The gun only discharged one time. If Hannah wanted to kill Kenneth, why would she shoot only once? The spent cartridge case from the round that killed Kenneth never ejected from the pistol. This supports the idea that Kenneth's hand was on the slide of the pistol. He interfered with the action cycling. Maybe he was struggling to get control over the gun, just like Hannah claimed. Hannah's shirt was torn in the center, she had scratches on her neck, and her wrist was swollen. This is consistent with the idea that Kenneth attacked Hannah. Citizen arrests are permitted in the state of Georgia, although only if the citizen witnessed a felony. Perhaps Hannah believed that Kenneth committed a felony. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Hannah Payne was guilty of murder? In my opinion, she was guilty of felony murder. She didn't set out to murder Kenneth, but she was committing a felony when he was shot and killed. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Hannah was grandiose and believed herself to have authority which she did not possess. She had a concealed carry permit and carried a pistol. This made her feel powerful and strong, like she could make people do what she wanted. When she witnessed the collision caused by Kenneth, she decided to actively intervene in the situation. It would have been fine to pull over and render assistance, but Hannah wanted more. She wanted justice. She wanted Kenneth to pay for the collision, even though it did not involve her in any way. When she came to believe that Kenneth was intoxicated, the intensity of her anger and determination increased. In her mind, the value disparity between her and Kenneth was extreme. She was a hero trying to keep the roads safe, and Kenneth was an evil monster who wanted to kill innocent motorists. When Kenneth drove away, Hannah saw her opportunity to play the hero and fulfill her desire to dominate. She may have felt further empowered by the correctional officer who was on the scene. However, when the 911 operator told her not to pursue, Hannah should have disengaged and returned to the scene of the collision. She continued pursuing because she wanted to confront Kenneth. Through reckless driving, Hannah caught up with Kenneth and sort of blocked him in. He was disoriented, perhaps from a medical emergency. Kenneth really didn't know what was going on. Hannah approached his vehicle and threatened to shoot him. Kenneth started physically resisting because he did not want to be murdered. Hannah now found herself in a challenging situation. She had provoked this altercation, but was not physically capable of maintaining control of her pistol or escaping the grasp of Kenneth. He was getting the upper hand, grabbing her neck, grabbing her shirt, and putting his hand on her pistol. Hannah decided to pull the trigger and commit murder. She didn't feel as though she did anything wrong. She used Kenneth's resistance as justification to shoot him. Hannah incorrectly believed that everyone would side with her, devaluing Kenneth's life the same way she did. Now moving to my final thoughts. I don't think that Hannah set out to commit murder that day, but she made a series of terrible decisions that led to the outcome. She felt compelled to meddle in other people's affairs. Sometimes people invest a lot of energy in situations that have nothing to do with them. They live vicariously through other victims and think of themselves as a victim too. This intense investment is as strong as it is nonsensical. It reminds me of these people who get arrested during sporting events by punching someone who insulted their team. They fail to understand that it was never their team in the first place. It's not like the team was going to pay them money or ask them for protection. Hannah is going to have a long time to think about the decisions that she made the day she murdered Kenneth. Or, as Hannah would say, not a long time. Those are my thoughts in the case of Hannah Payne. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.